I slammed my phone down on the desk so hard that my cold coffee jumped in its mug, and for the first time in my 44 years of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who always said yes, I felt something inside me crack wide. Open, not break. Crack, like a dam that had been holding back an ocean of rage for decades. My hands were shaking as I stared at Jessica's text message, the 14th demand in a chain that read like a hotel concierge's nightmare checklist. Almond milk, whole milk, organic snacks, a toy list for 3 children. Oh, and could I babysit Tuesday night because she and my brother had plans. Plans. As if my home, my in-law suite, my time, my entire existence was just another line item in her budget of free resources. The spreadsheet for my parents' 40th anniversary party glowed on my computer screen behind me, 60 hours of work condensed into color-coded cells, vendor contracts, seating arrangements for 50 people, and somewhere in the chaos of my overworked, underappreciated life, something finally snapped. But before I tell you how I burned that bridge so thoroughly that not even ashes remained before I take you through the most satisfying confrontation of my life, I need you to do something for me. If you've ever been the giver in a family of takers, if you've ever felt invisible while everyone else got to be the victim, hit that like button right now. Subscribe because this story gets better, and drop a comment telling me if you've ever had to cut off a toxic family member. Trust me, you're going to want to hear how this ends. Let me take you back 6 months to the moment I should have known. Actually, let me take you back 2 years to the moment I definitely should have known but was too deep in my role as family fixer to see it. I'm Mian. I'm the chief accountant at a mid-sized firm in Seattle, which is a fancy way of saying I juggle numbers, deadlines, and difficult clients 60 to 80 hours a week. I'm good at what I do. Really good. Good enough that I bought a beautiful house in a quiet neighborhood 3 years ago, complete with an in-law suite that I'd dreamed of using for my parents someday, or maybe as a home office, or just as proof that I'd made something of myself. I'm single, divorced actually 5 years now, and honestly relieved about it. No kids of my own, but I have 2 nieces from my younger sister who live across the country, and I'm the favorite aunt who sends elaborate birthday gifts and never forgets. My family is small. There's my dad David, 67, a retired postal worker with a soft heart and a spine made of overcooked pasta. There's my mom Linda, 65, a sweet woman who spent 40 years being a peacekeeper, which is a polite way of saying she enables everyone's worst behavior in the name of family harmony. There's my older brother Ryan, 46, who used to be my hero when we were kids. He was smart, funny, protective. Then he met Jessica 8 years ago, and I watched him transform into someone I barely recognized. A puppet, a hostage, a shell of himself. Jessica, 29 years old. Blonde, conventionally attractive in that Instagram filter kind of way. She has this talent for looking helpless and sweet while simultaneously orchestrating chaos. She met Ryan at a networking event, and within 6 months they were married. Red flag number 1, that everyone ignored, including me. She didn't work. Red flag number 2, she had a flexible definition of truth. Red flag 3, and she had a master's degree in manipulation with a minor in playing victim. 2 years ago, Jessica came to our family dinner with tears in her pretty blue eyes and a story about her struggling clothing boutique business. She needed $20,000 just to get through a rough patch. She'd pay it back within a year. Ryan sat there looking uncomfortable but said nothing. My mom looked at my dad with those pleading eyes that meant, please help her, and my dad, my poor soft-hearted dad, pulled out his checkbook, his retirement savings, money he'd worked 30 years to save. I was the only one who asked questions. What's your business plan? Can we see your financial statements? Have you considered a small business loan? Jessica's tears intensified. She looked at me like I'd slapped her. Ryan actually said, Mian, do you have to be so harsh? She's family. My dad waved away my concerns. It's fine, honey. We want to help. That $20,000 evaporated like morning mist. The boutique closed 6 months later. There was never a repayment. When I brought it up once gently at a Sunday dinner, Jessica started crying and ran to the bathroom. Ryan told me I was being cruel and obsessing over money. My mom said, let it go, Mian. It's just money. My dad patted my hand and said she tried her best, sweetheart. Just money. $20,000. Just money. That was lesson 1 in the Jessica playbook. Take what you want, cry when confronted, and watch everyone blame the person who dared to ask for accountability. Lesson 2 came a year ago. Jessica wanted to stay in my in-law suite for a weekend. She and Ryan were having their house painted and the fumes were terrible, and couldn't I just let them stay? It's so beautiful and spacious, Mian. Just 2 nights. I said yes. Because that's what family does, right? I was raised to be helpful, generous, accommodating. They stayed 4 nights. My expensive skincare products disappeared from the bathroom. My good towels got makeup stains. Jessica went through my pantry like a shopping spree using ingredients I'd bought for specific recipes. When I came home from work early one day, I found her in my home office at my desk looking through papers. She jumped and laughed and said she was just looking for a pen. A pen? In a room full of pens on my desk organizer. That night after they left, after I'd cleaned up the mess and done 3 loads of towels and noticed that a pair of my good earrings was missing, I made a decision. I went to Best Buy and bought a small, discreet security camera. I installed it on my bookshelf in the in-law suite, hidden behind a row of hardcover books angled toward the closet where I kept a small safe. The safe held backup copies of client files, some cash for emergencies, and a few pieces of jewelry from my grandmother. After Jessica had stolen from my dad and helped herself to my home like a hotel, I couldn't trust her. Not in my space. Not near my things. I told myself I was being paranoid. Overprotective. Maybe a little crazy. But I activated the camera anyway, set it to record on motion detection, and linked it to cloud storage. Just in case. Just for peace of mind. I forgot about it honestly for months. Until 6 months ago, when Jessica stayed over again after a family barbecue at my parents' house. She'd had 2 glasses of wine and insisted she was too tired to drive the 20 minutes home. Ryan wasn't there that night, he'd left early for a work thing, so it was just Jessica. She smiled sweetly and said, "I'll just crash in the suite, Mian. You don't mind, right?" I minded, but I said yes. The next morning she was gone before I woke up. I didn't think much of it until a week later when I was reviewing my cloud storage to clear space and I saw the notification. Motion detected in in-law suite 217 a.m. Duration 10 minutes. I clicked on the video with casual curiosity that turned into ice-cold shock within seconds. There was Jessica in my guest room at 2 a.m. in darkness except for her phone flashlight. She was in my closet. She was kneeling in front of my safe. And she was trying to guess the code. I watched frozen as she methodically tried combination after combination. Her birthday. Ryan's birthday. My birthday. My parents' anniversary. The classic 1, 2, 3, 4. She was systematic. Patient. Frustrated. At one point, she wiped her hands on her pajama pants and let out a small sound of annoyance. She tried for 10 minutes. When nothing worked, she stood up, looked around my closet with this calculating expression, and left. I sat there in my home office in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon watching this video over and over. This woman, my sister-in-law, the person my family defended and protected and made excuses for, had tried to break into my safe. Not to borrow something. Not because of some emergency. She was searching for something to steal. I didn't confront her. Not then. I saved the video. Backed it up to 3 separate drives. Documented the timestamp. And I filed it away in my mind under evidence for later. Because I'm an accountant. I think long-term. I wait for patterns. I build cases. The pattern continued. Over the next 6 months, Jessica's demands escalated. She needed help with rent. Could Dad loan them $1,500? She needed me to do her taxes for free. I'm good at numbers, right? She volunteered me to help with a charity event without asking, then acted hurt when I said I was too busy. She started every request with family helps family Mian and ended every refusal with, "I guess some people are just selfish." Ryan stopped defending me and started avoiding me. My dad looked tired all the time. My mom kept trying to orchestrate family dinners where everyone could just get along. And I kept working, paying my bills, taking care of my own life, and feeling more and more like a bank account with a heartbeat. Then came the anniversary party planning. My parents' 40th wedding anniversary was coming up in 3 months, and my mom wanted a celebration. Nothing huge, she said. Just family and close friends. Maybe 40 or 50 people. Backyard barbecue style. I volunteered to organize it because that's what I do. I'm the organizer. The responsible one. The one with the spreadsheet skills and the ability to get things done. I spent 6 weeks building the perfect plan. I found vendors. Negotiated prices. Created a menu. Designed invitations. Coordinated schedules. Booked a tent rental. Arranged for a photographer. I did all of this while working my regular 60-hour weeks, managing client accounts, dealing with tax season deadlines. I did it because I loved my parents. Because I wanted to give them something beautiful. Because I wanted to be the good daughter. The party was planned for my house. My beautiful backyard, my space, my effort. The budget was $7,500, which I'd carefully allocated across food, drinks, decorations, and entertainment. I had color-coded spreadsheets, vendor contacts organized by date, a timeline down to 15-minute increments. It was perfect. Then came the text message that changed everything. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was at work in the middle of a meeting with a difficult client when my phone started buzzing. I glanced at it during a break and saw 14 messages from Jessica in the family group chat. I opened them with a sense of dread. Official announcement. My cousins are coming to visit. 5 people, 3 kids. They'll be staying at Mien's place starting Monday. So excited for them to see Seattle and actor after terror. Then a follow-up message directly to me. Hey Mien, just a heads up, they'll need the in-law suite Monday through Sunday. Can you stock up on almond milk, whole milk cereal, and organic snacks for the kids? I'll send you the list of dietary restrictions. Oh, and also Tuesday night, Ryan and I have plans, so we'll need you to watch the 3 kids. Ages 3, 5, and 7. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Thanks so much. You're the best. Then, another message to the group. Isn't Mien amazing? Always so generous with her beautiful home. The kids are going to love the pool. I don't have a pool. I stared at my phone. Read the messages again. Felt something hot and sharp rising in my chest. This woman, this absolute audacity in human form, had just announced to my family that she was sending 5 people, 3 of them children, to stay in my home for a week. She'd volunteered me as a free hotel and babysitting service. She'd made plans for my space, my time, my life, without asking me a single question. I excused myself from the meeting, walked to my office, closed the door, and I did something I'd never done before. I didn't pose. I didn't consider. I didn't try to be nice. I called her. She answered on the first ring, her voice bright and cheerful. Mien, did you see my messages? Isn't it exciting? No, I said. My voice was so calm it scared me. It's not happening. There was a pause. What? I said, no, Jessica. They're not staying here. The in-law suite is not available. It will never be available for your family or anyone you want to invite. Don't ask again. Her voice changed instantly from sweet to sharp. What are you talking about? I already told them. They're flying in Monday. You can't just say no. I just did. Find a hotel. She let out this incredulous laugh. Are you serious right now? This is so typical of you. You have all this space and you won't even help family. Do you know how much hotels cost? That's not my problem. Her voice rose to a shout. You are so selfish. You've always hated me. You've always tried to turn Ryan against me. This is about the money, isn't it? You're still mad about the loan. It wasn't a loan, Jessica. It was theft. And I'm not mad. I'm done. Don't contact me about this again. I hung up. My hands were shaking. My heart was racing. I'd never done that before. I'd never just said no without explanation, without apology, without softening the blow. It felt terrifying. It felt exhilarating. It felt like jumping off a cliff without knowing if there was water below. The callback came within 30 seconds. My dad. I let it ring twice before answering. Mien, honey, what's going on? Jessica just called me crying. She says you refused to help her family and hung up on her. That doesn't sound like you. That's exactly what I did, Dad. And I'm not changing my mind. But sweetheart, it's just a week. They're family. Jessica says they're struggling and really need help. Dad, I'm going to ask you something. Do you know what those cousins did last month? He paused. What do you mean? I mean, I looked them up on Facebook. Their profiles are public. Last month, they took a week-long trip to Disney World. All 5 of them. Matching Mickey ears. Professional photos in front of Cinderella's castle. Do you know what that costs? Minimum $5,000. Probably closer to 7. Silence. So let me be clear. These people who are so struggling that they need free accommodation and free babysitting just spent more money on a vacation than the entire budget for Mom's anniversary party. Jessica isn't asking me to help a family in need. She's demanding I provide a free second vacation. And the answer is no. But Mien, you have the space. It's just sitting empty. And family helps family. Something in me cracked a little wider. Dad, do you remember lending Jessica $20,000? His voice got quiet. That's in the past, honey. She never paid you back. Not $1. That's your retirement money. You worked for 30 years for that money and she took it and never even said thank you. And you're asking me to help her. To give her more. She tried her best with the business. It didn't work out. Dad, I love you. But your definition of family seems to mean I give and give and give and Jessica takes and takes and takes and I'm supposed to smile about it. I'm done smiling. The answer is no. If you can't accept that, I understand. But I won't be discussing it again. I hung up before he could respond. Then I turned off my phone. I sat in my office with my head in my hands and felt the full weight of what I'd just done. I'd said no to my father. I'd refused to keep the peace. I'd chosen myself over family harmony. It felt like betrayal. It felt like freedom. That night, my phone had 37 missed calls. Ryan called 12 times. Jessica called 16 times from 3 different numbers. My mom called 9 times. There were 42 text messages. I read none of them. I poured myself a glass of wine, opened my laptop, and started reviewing the security footage from 6 months ago one more time. I needed to remember why I was doing this. I needed to see the evidence of who Jessica really was, not who my family pretended she was. The next morning, I woke up to a text from Ryan. Just one message sent at 3:00 a.m. We need to talk. This is out of control. You're tearing this family apart. I replied immediately. 7 p.m. tonight. Conference call. Everyone. This ends today. Then I went to work. I sat through meetings. I reviewed financial statements. I managed clients. And during my lunch break, I did something methodical and careful. I compiled my case. I pulled up the Facebook profiles of Jessica's cousins. I took screenshots of their Disney trip, their posts about their anniversary cruise from 2 years ago, their new car purchase, their kitchen renovation. These weren't struggling people. These were middle-class people living comfortable lives. And Jessica had lied about them needing help. I opened the security footage from 6 months ago. I watched Jessica try to break into my safe. I watched her search through my closet. I downloaded the file and saved it to a USB drive. I pulled up my bank statements and highlighted every time I'd helped my parents financially over the past 5 years. It totaled over $30,000. Money I'd given freely, quietly, without asking for recognition. Money no one seemed to remember when Jessica painted me as the selfish one. Then I created a simple document. 4 points. 4 pieces of evidence. 4 undeniable facts. I was going to end this tonight, and I was going to do it like I did everything else in my life. With preparation. With documentation. With proof. At 6:55 p.m., I set up my laptop in my home office. I made sure my background was neat and professional. I had my notes in front of me. The video file ready to share. My heart was pounding, but my hands were steady. This was it. The moment where I either backed down and went back to being the family doormat, or I burned every bridge and saved myself. At 7:00 p.m. exactly, I started the call and sent the link to the family group chat. My dad joined first, looking exhausted. My mom joined second, looking worried. Ryan joined third, looking angry. Jessica joined last, and I could see she'd been crying. Her eyes were red and puffy. Her face was blotchy. She looked like the victim she'd spent years pretending to be. "Thank you for joining," I said, my voice calm and even. "I know everyone has questions and feelings about what happened yesterday. I'm going to explain my position once. Clearly. With evidence. There will be no argument. There will be no debate. This is a presentation of facts." Me and Ryan started, his voice tight. "You can't just declare how this is going to go. We're a family. We talk things out." "Ryan," I said, and my voice had that quality I use with difficult clients. The one that says I'm done being interrupted. For 20 years, talking things out has meant I listen to everyone's feelings and then do what makes everyone else comfortable. That's over. For the next 10 minutes, you're going to listen. Then I'll answer questions if I feel like it. Then this call will end. Understood. Silence. Point 1. Property rights. The in-law suite is part of my private residence. It is not a family resource. It is not a hotel. It is not a favor bank. It is my property that I paid for with my money from my job. I do not owe anyone access to it. Not for a weekend. Not for a week. Not ever. This is not negotiable. But Maya and my mom started. "Mom, I love you. Please wait." Point 2. Time allocation. I am currently planning a party for 50 people in Dad and your honor. I have spent 6 weeks and roughly 60 hours of my personal time coordinating vendors, managing budgets, and organizing every detail. I am doing this while working 60-hour weeks. I am the party planner. I am not the family babysitter. Jessica's request wasn't asking for help. It was demanding I provide free childcare for 3 children I don't know, so she and Ryan could go on a date. That is not help. That's exploitation. Jessica made a sound like she was going to speak. I held up my hand. Point 3. The request was based on fraud. Jessica told our family that her cousins are struggling and desperately need help. I have evidence that this is categorically false. I shared my screen. Up came the Facebook screenshots. Photos of Jessica's cousins at Disney World. Professional shots with the castle in the background. Matching t-shirts. Big smiles. The date stamp showed it was from 6 weeks ago. This family, who Jessica claimed desperately needs our help, spent an estimated $5,000 to $7,000 on a Disney vacation last month. Their public posts show they own a home. 2 cars. They just renovated their kitchen. These are not struggling people. They are middle-class people who Jessica wanted to give a free Seattle vacation at my expense. That's not fair, Jessica said, her voice thick with tears. You don't know what they're going through. They have debt. They have stress. They needed that vacation to reconnect as a family. I cut her off. So they can afford $7,000 for Disney, but not $800 for a hotel in Seattle. That's interesting math, Jessica. Almost like you lied to manipulate everyone into pressuring me. The silence was thick. Even Ryan looked uncomfortable. Point 4, I said, and my voice dropped lower. This is the most important one, so everyone needs to pay attention. I stopped sharing the vacation photos. I opened the security video file. I let it load for a moment while everyone stared at their screens confused. 6 months ago, Jessica stayed overnight in my in-law suite after Mom and Dad's barbecue. She said she was too tired to drive. Ryan wasn't there. She stayed alone. The next morning, she left before I woke up. I didn't think much of it. I pressed play. The video quality was excellent, clear as day. There was Jessica in the darkness phone flashlight, illuminating her face kneeling in front of my safe, trying combinations. Over and over. Her fingers punching in numbers. Her face frustrated when nothing worked. The video played for 30 seconds. No one said a word. You could hear Jessica's breathing over her phone mic. Small, frustrated sounds. The beep of the safe rejecting each code. Her wiping her hands on her pajamas. Trying again. I paused it. This is Jessica, I said, my voice perfectly calm. At 2:17 inches the morning. In my home. In my private closet. Attempting to break into my personal safe. For 10 minutes. She tried 27 different combinations. She tried our birthdays. Anniversaries. Common codes. She was systematic. Patient. And absolutely determined to access something that did not belong to her. Jessica Ryan breathed. What the hell? It's not what it looks like. Jessica's voice was panicked, now shrill. I thought maybe I was confused. I don't remember. You don't remember spending 10 minutes trying to break into my safe? I asked. That's interesting because the timestamp is very clear. The video quality is excellent. And your face is perfectly visible. Would you like me to play the rest? There's 9.5 more minutes. Mian, my dad's voice was strained. Is this real? I backed it up to cloud storage that night, Dad. It's date stamped. It's been sitting on 3 separate hard drives for 6 months. I've been waiting. Waiting for what? Ryan asked, and he sounded broken. Waiting for this, I said simply. Waiting for the moment when Jessica's manipulation got so outrageous that I could finally show everyone who she really is. Not the crying victim. Not the struggling sister-in-law. Not the person who just needs a little help. A thief. Aliar. A manipulator who cries when caught and plays victim when confronted. The silence that followed was absolute. So let me be very clear, I continued. The cousins will not be staying at my house. Jessica will never be welcome in my home again. The anniversary party will not be held at my house because I will not risk having her on my property. And if anyone in this family has a problem with that, you're welcome to think about this video the next time you want to call me selfish. You recorded me. Jessica screamed suddenly. That's illegal. You can't do that. Actually, I can. Washington is a 2-party consent state for audio recordings, but this is video-only security footage in my own home. Perfectly legal. I checked with a lawyer last month. Would you like his number? He's very good. Jessica made a sound like a wounded animal. Then she screamed. A full-volume, rage-filled scream. "You are such a bitch. You've always hated me. You've always tried to destroy my marriage. You're jealous because Ryan chose me. You're a bitter divorced woman who can't stand to see other people happy." I felt nothing, just watched her melt down on screen, her pretty face twisted with rage, her mask completely off. Ryan looked horrified. My parents looked stunned, and I felt calm. Perfectly, completely calm. "Are you done?" I asked. She screamed again and disconnected from the call. I looked at the remaining faces on my screen. My dad looked like he'd aged 10 years. My mom had tears running down her face. Ryan had his head in his hands. "The party is canceled," I said quietly. "I'll contact all the vendors tomorrow morning. I'll handle the cancellations. I'll eat any costs that can't be recovered. But I will not host a celebration at my home where that woman is welcome." "Mian," my mom whispered. "Honey, I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything, Mom. I'm not asking for validation. I'm informing you of my decision." Ryan finally looked up. His eyes were red. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know about the safe. I didn't know she lied about her cousins. I didn't know." "I believe you," I said, and I meant it. "You're a victim too, Ryan. You're just too deep in it to see. But I can't save you. I can only save myself." "What happens now?" my dad asked. Now I hang up. I block Jessica's number. I mute the family group chat. And I take care of myself. That's what happens. "But the anniversary," my mom said. 40 years. We can't just not celebrate." I paused, looked at my parents on screen. These people who'd raised me, who'd taught me to be kind and generous and helpful, who'd also taught me unintentionally that my needs mattered less than keeping peace, who loved me but had let Jessica walk all over me for years. "Let me think about it," I said. "Give me a few days." I ended the call. For 3 days, I existed in the most profound silence I'd ever experienced. I went to work. I came home. I ordered takeout. I sat in my backyard and looked at the space where the anniversary tent would have been set up. I felt empty, exhausted, free. Jessica tried to call 4 more times from Ryan's phone, from my mom's phone, from numbers I didn't recognize. I blocked them all. Ryan sent one text. Just one. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. I should have protected you." I deleted it without responding. On the 4th day, I opened my laptop. I canceled the catering, the tent rental, the photographer, the DJ. I methodically dismantled 6 weeks of planning in 2 hours. Then I opened a new browser tab and searched for luxury beach resorts within driving distance. Quiet places. Small. Off-season. No crowds. I found one in Oregon, 3 hours south, right on the coast. A boutique hotel with 6 rooms, a restaurant that overlooked the ocean, and a strict no-children policy. I booked 2 rooms for a long weekend. I made a reservation at their restaurant for 4 people on Saturday night. Then I called my dad. He answered on the first ring. "Mian." "Hi, Dad. How are you?" "Tired," he admitted. "Sad. Confused." "Your mother hasn't stopped crying." "I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt anyone. But I'm not sorry for what I did." "I know." He sighed. "I've been thinking a lot about the money, about Jessica, about the way I've asked you to keep peace. And I think I owe you an apology." "You don't owe me anything, Dad. But I'm calling because the party isn't completely canceled. Just changed. I want you and Mom to pack bags. I'm taking you to the coast this weekend. There's a beautiful hotel, a restaurant with a view. Just the 4 of us. You, Mom, me, and whoever you want to invite. Maybe Aunt Carol if she's available. Small. Quiet. No drama. No spreadsheets. Just family. The real kind." His voice cracked. "You'd still do that. After everything." "Dad, I'm not mad at you and Mom. I'm protecting myself from Jessica. There's a difference. This is your 40th anniversary. You deserve to celebrate. Just not at my house. Not with her there." He was quiet for a long moment. "Thank you, sweetheart. That means more than you know. One condition. Jessica and Ryan are not invited. Not this time. Maybe someday when Ryan figures out who he wants to be. But not now." "Understood." "And Mian?" I looked at the videos. "Your mother and I watched them together. I'm so sorry we didn't believe you. About the money. About all of it. I closed my eyes. Thank you for saying that. We hung up. I felt lighter than I had in years. That Saturday, I drove my parents to the coast in my car. My mom sat in the passenger seat and held my hand for most of the drive. My dad told stories about their wedding day 40 years ago. We stopped at a roadside fruit stand and bought strawberries. It felt normal. Easy. Like family was supposed to feel. The hotel was perfect. Small and elegant. Our rooms had balconies overlooking the ocean. That evening we dressed up. My mom wore her favorite blue dress. My dad wore the suit I'd bought him for Christmas. I wore a red dress that I'd been saving for something special. We walked to the restaurant as the sun set, painting everything gold and pink. Dinner was slow and perfect. We ordered too much food. We shared everything. We laughed about old memories. My dad told the story of proposing to my mom at a county fair. My mom blushed and said he'd been so nervous he dropped the ring in the popcorn. We toasted with champagne. To 40 years. To family. To second chances. After dinner, we walked on the beach. The sand was cold and damp. The stars were coming out. My dad held my mom's hand and they looked at each other the way people do when they've built a whole life together. For 40 years through everything they'd chosen each other. I took a photo of them. My dad kissing my mom's temple. Her leaning into him. The ocean behind them. It was perfect. On Sunday morning, before we packed to leave, my mom knocked on my hotel room door. She came in and sat on my bed and looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said, "for making you feel like keeping peace was more important than keeping your dignity. For asking you to be smaller so other people could be comfortable. You deserved better from us." I hugged her. We both cried. And something in me healed just a little. We drove home in comfortable silence. I dropped my parents at their house. My dad hugged me tight and whispered, "Thank you." My mom kissed my cheek and said, "I love you." I drove to my own house, to my beautiful quiet home with the in-law suite that would stay empty for now, and I felt complete. 3 weeks later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. It was Jessica. Her voice was different. Smaller. Less confident. "Mian. It's me. I know you blocked me. I'm calling from a friend's phone. Please don't hang up." I should have. But I was curious. "I'm listening," I said. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I was wrong. About everything. About asking for your house. About lying. About the safe. I was desperate and stupid, and I'm so sorry. "Okay," I said. My voice was neutral. Empty. Can we start over? Can I come by and talk? Maybe we can fix this. For Ryan's sake. For your parents. For the family." And there it was. The manipulation. Wrapped in an apology, but still there. For everyone else. For the family. Never for me. "No, Jessica. I don't accept your apology." There was a pause. Then her voice changed. Sharpened. "Fine. You know what? You're right. You are selfish. You're a bitter, selfish woman, and I feel sorry for you. At least I have a husband who loves me. At least I'm not alone. At least Ryan chose me." I started laughing. I couldn't help it. After everything, after the video, after being caught literally trying to steal from me, she still couldn't help herself. Still had to make herself the victim. Still had to attack. "Is something funny?" she snapped. "You are," I said, still laughing. "You're ridiculous. After everything you've done, after being caught on video, after lying to my family, you still can't just apologize. You still have to make it about you. You still have to try to hurt me. It's almost impressive how committed you are to being terrible. Well, you know what, Mian? You owe me. You saved so much money by canceling that party. My cousins had to stay in a hotel. They had to eat out every meal. Do you know what that cost? $800. You owe them at least $800. After they came all this way, I laughed harder. I laughed so hard I had to sit down. I laughed until tears ran down my face. $800. She wanted me to reimburse her cousins $800 for a vacation they chose to take after I explicitly said no. The audacity. The absolute shameless audacity of this woman. "You think this is funny?" Jessica was shouting now. "You destroyed our family. You ruined everything. The least you could do is pay for what you cost them." I was still laughing when I hung up. Then I blocked the number. Then I blocked 3 more numbers she tried to call from over the next hour. Each time I just smiled and pressed block. It felt like deleting spam. Necessary. Cleansing. Easy. That night I did something I'd been thinking about for weeks. I opened my laptop and looked at my calendar. My vacation days. I had 3 weeks saved up. I'd been hoarding them for years, always too busy to use them, always too responsible to take time off. I opened a travel website and started searching. I found a yoga retreat in Costa Rica. 2 weeks. Oceanfront. Daily classes. Healthy food. No phone service. I booked it without hesitation. Then I emailed my boss. I would be taking 3 weeks off starting next month. I'd earned it. I'd trained my assistant to handle my accounts. It was time. The weeks that followed were strange and liberating. I existed in my own space without apologizing for it. I went to work. I came home. I cooked elaborate meals just for myself. I read books. I took long baths. I didn't check the family group chat. I didn't wonder what Jessica was saying about me. I didn't care. Ryan called once. Just once. I let it go to voicemail. His message was short. "Mian, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if I can fix this. I'm trying to figure out who I am without her in my ear. I'm sorry for everything. I love you. I miss my sister." I saved the message but didn't call back. Not yet. Maybe someday. When he'd done the work. When he'd figured out how to be himself again. But not now. My parents called weekly. We had dinner every other Sunday at their house. Just the 3 of us. We didn't talk about Jessica. We didn't talk about Ryan. We talked about their garden, my work, old family stories. My mom showed me photos from the coast trip over and over. She'd printed the one I took of them on the beach and framed it. It sat on their mantle next to their wedding photo. One Sunday evening as I was leaving, my dad walked me to my car. He stood there in the driveway, looking older but somehow more solid than before. "You did the right thing," he said. "I didn't think so at first. But you did. You showed us what boundaries look like. What self-respect looks like. Your mother and I, we enabled a lot of bad behavior because we were scared of conflict. You weren't scared. You were brave." "I wasn't brave, Dad. I was just tired." He smiled. Sometimes that's the same thing. 3 months after the confrontation, I was in Costa Rica. No phone, no email. Just sun and ocean and the sound of my own breathing. I did yoga at sunrise. I ate fresh fruit and grilled fish. I sat on the beach and watched waves crash and felt absolutely nothing but peace. On the last day of the retreat, the instructor asked us to share one thing we were grateful for. When it was my turn, I said I was grateful for the courage to disappoint people, to choose myself, to build walls where I needed them. Another woman in the circle, a lawyer from Chicago, started crying. She said she needed to hear that she'd been trying to keep everyone happy for 20 years and was drowning. I gave her my email. We still write to each other sometimes. She left her emotionally abusive mother's house 6 months later. She tells me I saved her life. I tell her she saved her own life. I just showed her it was possible. I came home from Costa Rica tan and rested, and fundamentally changed. My house felt like mine in a way it never had before. Every room belonged to me. My space. My rules. My life. I redecorated the in-law suite. Painted the walls a soft gray. Bought new furniture. Made it into a proper guest space for people I actually wanted to host. My sister visited from across the country with her 2 daughters. They stayed for a week. We baked cookies and watched movies and had dance parties in the living room. No one tried to steal from me. No one demanded anything. It was just family being family. The good kind. 6 months after the confrontation, Ryan showed up at my door unannounced. It was a Saturday morning. I was drinking coffee on my back deck when the doorbell rang. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to open it. He looked terrible. Thinner. Tired. Older. But his eyes were clear in a way they hadn't been in years. "I left her," he said. No hello. No preamble. Just that. I left Jessica. 3 weeks ago. I'm staying with a friend. I filed for divorce yesterday. I stepped aside and let him in. We sat in my kitchen and he told me everything. How the video had woken something up in him. How he'd started seeing the patterns. The manipulation. The lies. The way she'd isolated him from everyone who really loved him. How he'd found evidence of credit card debt she'd hidden. accounts in his name he didn't know about, how she'd been planning to ask my parents for more money without telling him. He cried. My big brother, who used to protect me from bullies on the playground, cried in my kitchen and said he was sorry. So deeply sorry. For choosing her. For letting her hurt me. For being too weak to see what was happening. I made him breakfast. Scrambled eggs and toast. We ate in silence. Then I said, "You're not weak, Ryan. You were a hostage. There's a difference." We talked for 4 hours. About childhood. About how he'd lost himself. About what happens next. I didn't forgive him instantly. I didn't tell him everything was okay. But I told him I loved him. That I hoped he'd find himself again. That my door was open when he was ready. He hugged me before he left. Held on tight like he used to when we were kids and he'd just gotten home from college. "Thank you for not giving up on me," he whispered. Even when I gave up on myself. A year after the confrontation, I was promoted to senior partner at my firm. I cut my hours to 50 a week. I took every vacation day. I started dating again, nothing serious, just coffee dates and dinners with interesting people. I joined a book club. I took a pottery class. I lived my life the way I wanted to live it. Ryan came to Sunday dinners at my parents' house sometimes. He was in therapy, working on himself. We were rebuilding slowly, carefully, with boundaries and honesty. He didn't talk about Jessica much. The divorce was messy. She tried to take everything. He was fighting it with a good lawyer. He'd learned. My parents were different too. Lighter. My dad made jokes again. My mom stopped trying to fix everything. We celebrated holidays together, just us, and it felt right. Complete. Like we'd finally figured out who we actually were without the performance of perfect family. I never saw Jessica again. I heard through mutual friends that she'd moved to California. Started dating someone new. Was probably doing to him what she'd done to Ryan. I felt sorry for whoever he was. But it wasn't my problem. Wasn't my circus. Wasn't my monkey. Sometimes people ask me if I regret it. Cutting her off so harshly. Burning that bridge so completely. Causing that explosion. And I tell them the truth. I don't regret a single second. Because here's what I learned in those 44 years of being the responsible one, the generous one, the one who always said yes. Love isn't supposed to hurt. Family isn't supposed to cost you your peace. Generosity isn't the same as being used. And the people who truly love you will never ask you to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. I learned that the most radical act of love I could do for my real family, the family I was protecting, the family that actually mattered, was to have the courage to cut away the infected parts. That boundaries aren't walls that keep people out. They're foundations that keep you standing. I learned that when someone shows you who they are, believe them. When someone tries to break into your safe at 2 a.m, they're telling you exactly how much they respect you. When someone lies to manipulate your family into giving them free resources, they're showing you their values. When someone calls you selfish for having boundaries, they're mad that they can't control you anymore. And I learned that silence is sometimes the most powerful response. That you don't owe anyone access to you. That no is a complete sentence. That walking away isn't giving up. It's growing up. I saved that video. It sits on 3 hard drives in 3 different locations. I'll probably never need it again. But I keep it as a reminder of who Jessica really was beneath the tears and the victim act, of how close I came to letting her into my life permanently, of the moment I chose myself. Some people think I'm cold, harsh, too unforgiving. They say family is family and you should always try to work it out. They say everyone makes mistakes and deserves second chances. They say I should have been the bigger person. To those people, I say this. You didn't watch someone try to rob you on camera. You didn't watch your father hand over his retirement savings to a con artist. You didn't spend years being the bank account, the hotel, the therapist, the punching bag, the villain in someone else's victim narrative. You don't get to tell me how I should respond to years of theft and manipulation and lies. The bigger person isn't the one who keeps accepting abuse. The bigger person is the one who has enough self-respect to walk away. The bigger person is the one who protects their peace instead of performing for an audience. The bigger person is the one who saves the family they can save and releases the poison they can't fix. I built a firewall. Not a wall of hate or revenge or even anger. A firewall of protection. Of preservation. Of love for the people who actually loved me back. By stopping the toxicity at the gate, by refusing to let it spread to my parents, my home, my life, I didn't destroy my family. I saved it. And here's the truth that took me 44 years to learn. The truth I wish someone had told me when I was young and eager to please and desperate to be loved. You are not responsible for other people's dysfunction. You are not required to accommodate other people's manipulation. You are not obligated to sacrifice your peace for someone else's comfort. And you are absolutely allowed to walk away from anyone who treats your kindness like weakness. Sometimes love looks like saying yes. Sometimes it looks like saying no. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is build a wall so strong that the poison can't get through to the people you're meant to protect, including yourself. After all those years of being the one who fixed everything, who smoothed every conflict, who paid for peace with pieces of myself, I finally learned the lesson that saved my life. You can't pour from an empty cup. And you shouldn't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. So here's my question for you, the one listening to this story and recognizing pieces of your own life in it. If you're the giver in a family of takers, if you're exhausted from managing everyone else's chaos, if you've been called selfish for having boundaries, what are you waiting for? What's your breaking point? What's your video in the dark? What's your moment of clarity? And when that moment comes, will you have the courage to choose yourself? Because I promise you this. On the other side of that terrifying decision, on the other side of disappointing people and being called harsh and burning bridges that needed to burn, there's peace. There's freedom. There's a life that belongs to you. And it's worth it. It's so worth it. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you're tired of being everyone's solution and no one's priority, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more stories like this. And leave a comment telling me about your moment. The moment you chose yourself, or the moment you're still working up the courage to have. Because your story matters. Your boundaries matter. And your peace matters more than someone else's comfort. You deserve a life that doesn't cost you your soul. And you don't need anyone's permission to claim it.